다단다 개바 세베 걸 계시도 좀 배다 알아주 지가서 그래 아니 개바 세베기 쳐도 아니 그래서 세바데 초베기 제수 장체 아니 개와이 누잠베 아니 대화들라 신진 차치 대제소 세바티그레스 누잠베 아니 신에 가서 그러다 라운지기 다다는 원래 용거를 아니 딘제기 대화데 아니 딘제 대화디 아니 디르샤스 차바집이 주르샤스 인도점베 다디 대화 딘제디 마제버친 대비나 아니 되네 차과매버 차도도 차과매버 차비나 아니 신이 샘날 시대 지원설에서 되게 삼로데 아니 다때도 좀 된디 뭐좀 상마제 응원이야 아니 지기 추주 딘제기 따로 딘제기 딘제간이야 좀 된디게 냠시 제도가
numbers of 상기
상마제 응원라 딘제기 냠낸 제도가 냠낸 제도 쓰고봐
and so and then we're sort of looking here at the eighth of the 12 links of craving, and the way in which the sort of this craving follows on from the seventh link of the feeling, and particularly this feeling of the happy feeling, or the feeling of happiness, and then and then becoming attached to that happiness, and some of this I'll describe a bit later, but then becoming attached to that happiness, then that attachment to the happiness, so that happiness, the feeling, the happy feeling, the feeling of happiness there becomes a cause for the attachment, and so if that happy feeling of happiness would not to arise, then it would prevent the attachment from then arising, and then there would be and then the mind would be at peace, and so this is the sort of way that the Buddha was practicing before he attained the enlightenment.
데인도 점배다 세바기에기 주 아닌 대형알라 소바데 주당 타른 거 당체 아니 가수지 대비이나야 즉 내가 그 직할서 그래 차가마지네 두스 대투에기 내가 지 용도 시그리데 얘네 그 타른 걸 대비선으로 좀 마도 세바자원이네 매버 차투고 매버 인장 아니 당동양 산지 좀 된데 아니 차베기 주디 가르제 차베기 주디 조 가르제 세제니 제고야 되다 디 다단다 딜레된 용서로 다 하고 서로
so then but then sort of practicing in that way, so in order to do that, in order to because this craving arises from contact with particularly with the sense with the desire objects which of desire, and then so in order to prevent the craving arriving by sort of staying at along this is the way the Buddha was sort of engaged in his process of practice, that then to keep as far away from these objects of desire as possible, and of course in temporarily it was possible to then reduce its attachment, but then that only happens by being able to remain at a distance from the objects of desire. But then he started to realize that this is only a temporary solution, and this was not cutting away the craving from its root, and so he searched for the main cause of the root cause of attachment, and then this is what is described going through the text here.
제정가다 단다 디나로리아 초웨 초와디 개바 세바 슈글라 고발 렘바 용당디 야 렘바도디 안치장 개바 지게 세바디 레르 잠베 아니 고 데바디 아니 지기 수소라 소베 아니 데졸라야 데바지 데바제바디 데바짬시체 다 고발 렘베 개바 세베기 저서 고발 렘발레야디 카르레스나 아니 디 카르소레 디기 제소 더바께 차바다 디지존 로고야디 세바 가주 세발레온도 잠베 안 디지존 중두기 주바 디지존 두바 오델리그리스 페나 페도시나 아니 아란주 탄다 멤버심지다 주부심지 멤버심지다 주부심지 이 유변나로네 가주 안에 지게 현대도 조배 창조주 고만데 톱대 숙제야 가지고 지금 멤버이나 아니 더거지게 뒤에서 텔레 중도기 삼바데 정신 영향에도 지당하란조 레 당보 어쩌라 면심디 시부주자고 그랬어야 되더라.
And so then sort of following this sequence of the links where we have the feeling as a link number 7, the feeling, and then link number 8, this craving or thirst, and then through from that to the ninth link, which is the link of obtaining or appropriating, and this. So here with the eighth link here with the sort of the kind of craving or desire for this for the feeling of happiness, and at that level it's a kind of mere desire. But then what happens in terms of the ninth link is that the ninth link sort of has this sense of sort of chasing after the so following off, sort of engaging into it, sort of following after that, or just chasing after that, which then so sort of is sort of called shuk chetan chewat tangos saying they or oh yeah, so so as much as that as strong as that eighth link of sort of craving in this sort of desirous craving is, then as strong as that is, it'll draw on this sort of movement to sort of really chase after the objects. So this, we could use an analogy here of when we're developing the two kinds of bodhicitta, the aspirational bodhicitta and the engaging bodhicitta. And so the aspirational at the beginning, having that aspiration of the wish to attain the complete enlightenment in order to, for the sort of maximum welfare of all the sentient beings, and then as strong as that kind of sort of aspiration within the aspirational bodhicitta is, then as strong as that is, then the engaged bodhicitta will come in relation to the amount of strength, the strength of our aspiration there. So similarly, the eighth and ninth are linked like this.
So also it is a very clever by the great Shantideva when he wrote the way of Bodhisattva's life, and then at the first chapter he talks about the benefits of bodhicitta. The more you look into the benefits of bodhicitta, then you have to feel it's not like, oh, bodhicitta is something like that. It's more like, wish I can have the bodhicitta, so then I can be more powerful, more I can have a less self-cherishing, means I can be more effortlessly benefiting sentient beings. So then that's how these texts, first chapter, more you are convinced, and then all other, like the curse of Tiboshabe Leuda, 아니 지게 something Leuda, Taka Seve Leuda, Yonso, Di Yonak Chedo, chanjuk gie chedo ani den ding nyamlen hama dana liu ta ge gu ta ge chi 상말로 아니 chanjuk gie chedo yinslana
Yeah.
진에 아니 대주 상마 준주고 nyamlen se chagro
So then, so throughout the whole structure of the text, through the sort of from all of the chapters, from after this first chapter on the qualities of the bodhicitta, and then confession of negativities, and all of the chapters, all the way up to the concentration, sort of meditative absorption, the 8th chapter on meditative absorption. All of these are sort of spoken for the purpose of, or describe the practices and conduct of the bodhisattva.
Also in our daily life, whenever more you have a craving towards it, then more effortless, you feel more effortless to do this. So that's why when we do some negative things, you don't feel, even you have put effort, you don't feel a tiredness, or you feel like I'm putting effort. Right? But then some great beings are saying, you are so lazy. No, I'm not lazy, I'm doing such. So that's the old reason. So for like this, if you that's Lama Tsongkhapa, he made this beautiful logic, saying the connection between the analytical meditation and then shamatha. So in the Tibet, still here we have, and all around we have, saying like shamatha is very important. Analytical meditation not that important. But then Lama Tsongkhapa says like that's very surprising, because without analytical meditation, without any information, what are you going to meditate on? That was a huge debate. So then Lama Tsongkhapa gave one very good reason there, saying, even though we are so familiar with our anger and negativity, the emotions, whatever we have, but if I ask you, bring the anger now towards me, you can bring it, because lack of information. But without information, you cannot bring any kind of even you are quite familiar, you cannot bring it on. So even this information is required on the ordinary behavior here. Then now we are talking about something adapting this single point of meditation, staying effortlessly for such a long time with a very calm mind. How are you going to bring this? So then Lama Tsongkhapa said, 제장가 제곰당 조금니기 뻐루기 균대긴 자와 매너민 중긴 자와데 마통기 봐도 아 가수지기 셈나로야 남도 마지스지 대비나야 남도 찾아버렸어.
근데 참디
남도 마지네 가져가 같이 대비나야 남도 찾아버리겠어. 남도 매 차야고요 말이지.
So so Lama Tsongkhapa says that in terms, if you as long as you don't understand the sort of cause and effect relationship between analytical meditation and sort of placement or concentrative meditation, and then as long as that is the case, however many of the sort of kind of conceptuality or activity of the mind you're able to prevent from happening, it'll never actually completely get rid of our sort of thinking, overthinking or conceptuality.
다디 누잠베 tangi 백할 단단히 배디도 쉬는 신체제 다 단다 개버 세백이 제주 고발 렘발레온도 참배 된제기 개버 세바디기 너바 가지고 숙침부디 여비 띵기 안디 제주 레 자면 고주로 봐. 레
자면. And so then to sort of using that example then to here in terms of the eighth link of craving or thirst, then however strong that link that craving or thirst is, then and after that, coming after that is the link of this obtaining or appropriating, and then this is where the sort of because le sambe the le gusuyudigi so le satsam gusubudu this
그래서
le ki satsam gusubudu so le samba
le 자면 고주봐.
yeah so this is where we
the 제바서 그런 거. 다 내가 제 고주고
yeah this is where the sort of influence or the sort of activity of
engage
yeah the engagement of the karmas begins here right here in this place.
제상가다 인게지 차당디 가르도스라는 디 워델다 디 츠들로베나 최베텐도 세벌주는 야월네 넘버 10을 넘버 10을 렌주루스 다 넘버 10 레 넘버 10 고조는 있어.
And so this where this in the engagement of the karma begins here is mentioned in the last three lines of verse 6 where it says craving arises for the sake of feelings, and with craving, appropriation. The four aspects are completely appropriated. So this is where the beginning of, and so this is describing the four appropriations, the four kinds of appropriation, I think.
다디 두점베 대다라 소와 달라고 뭐를 신신 차바 되니 아니 세베기 겐진 레 페베 더바 굿 더바 찍다 뭐 더바 시치저 다도 주고요 봐 답변하지 수준 되어 되게 된다라 양교 매주친 데야다 소다지로 이제도 졸이야 아니 롱주에게다 그래서 상로 숙체를 두고 버다.
Yeah. And so here it reads, after the verse, it reads, desire, so that is strong craving to feelings, possesses the condition of craving, the cause for the increase of formative actions. So here we're sort of talking about how this strong craving for the objects of desire and then the sort of wish to sort of strive to obtain them, and the sort of strength, the strength of the mind in terms of the mind wishing to sort of enjoy them or engage with those objects or enjoy them.
다 되네 따와세야다, 수림세야다, 뒤슈세야, 뒤숨디 아니 대 다지게 가르쳐 그래, 가르쳐 그래다 줍달라 슈바당 아니 랍도 중화당 아니 수림라 내바데 졸마도 디 믹스에 고 태가를 잡았게요 말했어.
Because so then the next so just reading on, it's talking about the four types of appropriation, and it says the first three of these, which are dawat and sudra, so view, desire, view, and morality and conduct. So these ones are related. So the first one, the second one here, actually, the view is related to things like the tenet system, and then sutram and dushu. This is the morality and conduct. So this is related to ethical discipline. So those two, and then dawad and sutram. Oh, durba. Sorry. And so desire. The first one being desire.
But nobody 가도 참말이요. 다도 야와제변 시송도와 너바디 차상 아주 참말이요. 다 되네. 다 단다 아주 데베카몬 지고다. 데베카몬 지제 데바디체. 되네 니고 타마데라 다도 마와세디 다 직다디로 봐. 직다진들이. 온디 아세 다 숙중부 제치도와. 온디 디주상 디주니디 first and the last day
Chasambi,
아주 참말로 단다 되어데레스
네.
다 따와다 수림 두슈 세야다 어디서 거하는 디 거하는 리고어스 두잔베 디 도바 켈렘바다 아니 지기 지 가르쳐 그래디 아주 줍들을 주고다 어디서마도 요 말이스
Right. So so there are the four of these desire, view, morality and conduct, and expounding a self. So here in terms of the first and the last of these, so the desire and the expounding of self, and here what the expounding of the self means is that false view of the transitory collection. And then the desire, in the sense that desire of being in the desire, beings who live in the desire realm. So the first one of desire, and the last one of the false view of the transitory collection. All of it, everyone has. All the beings in the desire realm have those. But then the two in the middle of the view, and then also morality, which is morality and conduct, which is also sort of holding sort of ascetic practices and conduct to be supreme. The view, so this sort of morality and conduct, holding modes of ethical conduct to be supreme, comes from sort of systems of taking vows and sort of vows in relation to certain forms of conduct. And then the view is in relation to being accepting sort of philosophical tenet systems. So then these are not everybody has these, but the first and the last ones everyone has. The two in the middle of view and morality and conduct are not everybody has those.
제장가다 늦어 창으로 단다디 시송부여래 근데 시송야디 늦어 창에게 가르치고 어려 질레도 선배 대화 된도 니에체 아니 대화 tel라 지금 롱제에게 탑시라 아니 주림송야 대화디 토비하게 된다라 아니 지금 주림디 된단 튼비기 주림 말에데 출체기 텔야 랍데자 뒤슈 총진 세대들 주림 뒤슈 총진 세지도 주림 마연발라 주림도 셴바다 다 주림다 뒤슈니를 데스 켜바체고 주래 년 디질랍셔다
So then in terms of these four appropriations, or the four types of appropriation, and then they're all sort of we can talk about these in all in the sense that they're sort of their goal or their aim is in relation to happiness, to be able to enjoy a happiness. So for instance, something this one here about the ethical conduct, and it's sort of ethical conduct and practices morality, holding them to be supreme. This is, although in this context it's something which is not the kind of correct morality, not completely in relation to reality, but it's a form of ethical conduct which is also these are engaged, these forms of conduct are engaged in, and also to bring happiness on some level, right?
이지게라 추림다 뒤슈디 개발 개요르베
Well, the way that I heard it explained was dushuk was to engage in a certain practice that was like the stand on one foot, and the way that I heard it was that dushuk, which was some type of conduct, was to engage in some sort of false practice, like standing on one foot, and the tsutum was to avoid a certain type of practice, like thinking that being vegetarian is going to bring you liberation.
디 야보도 제장가 베베기 출팀 시도점be 출당 튠바 제장가 출당 튠바 인상고요 봐. 더 제장가 출당 튠바지 제베나 유디당 지부니디 튠바지 제나 튠바 용구를 해야 돼. 디 삼로들 용도 점be 신의 안아주게 소마지 가르진스나 계란 체를 못 두고도와 세통으로 로에 주디 가르랬으나 아니 소지베 냐바디기 세통으로 딴 거였어. 이래고 봐. 출당 튠구를 했어.
In so in the sort of Tibetan way of looking at there's a sort of tradition of looking at this views of the view of taking discipline and ascetic practices as supreme, but within that sort of phrase, when we talk about sultrim, discipline or ethical discipline, the sul means something to be in accord with the way things are. So particularly this would relate to being in accord with how the causes of a particular, an ethical, the causes of a particular ethical discipline as a cause will produce a certain kind of result, so that the causes and the effects are in accord. And so, for instance, abandoning the killing in the sense that we feel we need a long life, so then abandoning killing because the killing would bring us which would bring us in the future a shortened life. So this in the Tibetan word sul has this sense of being in accord, something being in accord with reality. In a yeah. So that reality being the cause and effect, being in accord with each other.
또 제장가 치료비기 아니 타바드비기 체도 같이 있으나 그냥 온줄로 써발라 쳐봐망서 쳐봐다. 온줄 투 예바이나 아니 되네 타바드 토야로 써봐다. 또 마무게 제신 거 봐. 제장한테도 정말로 남부 상계에다도 저 정말 추지를 샤스. 추도 tum버입니다. 출체.
Suche, yeah.
어디게 시에다.
So then, so for then the sort of these are from the Buddhist tradition, looking at these sort of Indian outsiders schools where they would sort of propitiate deities such as Shiva in order to then please. To please these deities, and then on the basis of that to work towards the path of liberation. But from the Buddhist tradition, looking at that, that's not something that's not in accord. That's a discordant way of thinking, a way of trying to attain liberation.
Yeah, I love to use to watch this Indian the
epic stories
of
the Indian
of the gods. So because when I was growing up, then at that time I have this black and white TV, and then only one channel. No option. So you enjoy that so much. So one channel, and every Sunday morning they will show the stories of the gods of the Indian, not Mahabharata, more like Ram, Sita, and all this. So I love to watch this. I really enjoy. And then there sometimes that one person want to take a revenge, then he will ask to get some kind of a city, power to destroy that, and then he will do all sorts of like a purification and do so many funny things, and then the god will appear and then said, "Now you have put so much effort. I'm so pleased. Now you ask me whatever you want. I will give it to you." So I have this strong in here. So I thought like sometimes maybe when we do like not quite good as according to what our gurus has guided us, but then sometimes when we make a prayer to the Buddha or the deity, and then there's some wrathful deities, and then you make so much prayer. Looks quite same, quite same. So also we can include if our way of this asking for the power or blessing or inspiration, if some not good understanding, we are in this level of the
false.
That's the
This kind of false view of taking discipline and practices, ascetic practices, as supreme.
다 주림제 뒤슈세야 돼. 아니 아주 다 디리샤 가소래. 뒤슈 빼데 아주 샘디 주림도 통에 교화제 땅을 마세. 아니 수국이 지게 넘줄줄 봐. 디안 교화 땅도 다 지랍도 좀 철로 그냥을 써 봐. 아베 철로 그냥을 써 봐. 아니 되네 양베 지기 지불 거지에 막 그런지 지불을 돼야 써 봐. 늦어라 다 샘점시 마임바 류 코랑기 뭐냐 차상 교화제 땅에서 딜로 뒤쇼세니 지도 다다 가르디면 미신.
So then, in terms of this second sort of the parts of that sort of view, the view of the ascetic practices as being supreme, then, not just thinking of sort of transforming or taming the mind, so to speak, but also taking that to sort of to mean that we also have to sort of change or train the body in some way, and so engaging in all these forms of a sort of more extreme ascetic disciplines, such as going naked or
changing the outside look.
Changing.
So from the outside look appearance, the tsudim is the ethical. This is something from you. Keep it inside. People cannot see, but the more you wanted to change your form. So then you make this kind of
ascetic. You engage in some more extreme ascetic practices in order to transform that physical form as well.
Go to the gym.
Go to the gym.
Yeah.
Go to the gym is it is also a good example for having a good discipline, and then also teaching of the grasping. You see something very delicious, apple strudel in front of you, and then you feel like, okay, I will have just a piece of this, and I can eat more. But it's also grasping, because grasping of yourself that you will become also all the problem is there, but still you're trying to avoid that. See? And then most important is the maintenance. That doing regularly, somehow then we have to somewhere we have to stop when somehow. But it's incorrigible. But anyway, all this inclusion here. 제장을 가지고 단단 냠네. 가지고 삼로 단단 대화 루비아 차상 초와 대외기 치도 누구 여백이 개적으로 용서되나로 다 추구도 왔어.
So all of the whole vast range of things that we do in order to obtain this happiness, especially this the feeling of happiness, is all sort of all of that vast range of things that we do is sort of included in here in these four appropriations.
다 테니스 데디는 또 산지도. 테니스 CB기 찐지 람바이노스 다디 파도체. 된 뒤치 다 녀월 녀레 여나 람바페스 시버랍도 좀 주스다.
So then the text reads on. So these being by the condition of existence are appropriation, and then the first line of the first two lines read: if appropriation is present, the appropriator's existence fully arises.
The word loshada, the demde should kedi never lemena, drover you the siminjur, sibatia pumbongas.
So also then reading the second two lines of verse 7. So without appropriation, one is free and existence will not happen. And then the first line of verse 8. With that existence, also the five aggregates.
다 딘데기 예바 세바도 고벌 람바 안디 슈도 치부스 딘데레드 쩨베 다 단다 디고 다 디나신 치치 냐월 람 냐레요나 람바 베스 다 람바 포스드 쩨베 개와 다 개와 치마레 개원이 스와레 다 개와 치마레 개원이 디기 아니코 정신기 레 망보지 사원도 쩨베 딘데기 레디 안코 레디조 롱제게 쳐도 안고 시봉고 페벌 제주부지.
So in terms of the then sort of in relation to the eighth link of craving, then the ninth link of appropriation, and then it says here in the first line, then this appropriation, if appropriation is present, the appropriator's existence fully arises. So they really sort of after this they're coming to this 10th link of existence, and then after
시보 공부 디 세포다 레디 공부야 펠체 고 펠레오네디 용센디 카레스나 다 단다 디네 다 아주 단다 코아세디 난기 어찌든 코아세디 치리 코아드메 버체 아란주 시주드베 코아세디 계제디 다 주버 시보간 계시 시오바.
And so then this really, in terms of then sort of starting to the process of moving towards the future rebirth, and then how all of the many karmas that we have created, sort of leading us towards the future existence, and so this in this way of how this internal process. So this is an internal process of our internal samsaric process of contained within our own mind stream. It's not a sort of an external process. And then so the ninth link leading us towards this the future existence based on all of our karmas.
제상가 아란즈 단다 니버 뒤지기 레기 사베 딱 가서래 다 바자더데 남시강도 샤 남시 델릭딩도 아니 단다 레디 팔레니 수주 여바디 온도 컨디스 주르주버레 세두 챵페 아니 레단 가서 레니기 이 가서래다 말말 세바들 람바니기 야 공부 펠주버치.
And so then the way the process works is in the second link, in the sort of karmic formatives, which lays down an imprints of the karma we've created on the consciousness, and then those the sort of potentialities or latencies lie dormant in the consciousness, and then until all of those they lie dormant on the consciousness until the eighth link of thirst or craving and the ninth link of obtaining then sort of ripens those sort of awakens those sort of dormant latencies on the consciousness.
로 아웨크 시기나 다 뭔가 펠로 제주고 쓰바.
number power.
뭔가 펠로스도 가서 그렇다. 주교만 손에 딱고 주교만 손에 시부주 코용해 주어보다 펠로 용해야 돼.
So sort of
I don't know. Okay. 다때는 다디 거둘이야. 아니 되면 나와 잡이기. 다 개데 딘지기 딘데 양라 주니기 나로라야. 다 시바 주버 시바디 야 펠마 주버 체도 냐와 렘바데 매버 소고 요레스. 인도 잠베다 땡기게야 지게 따와 지게 따와 로바이네 수름 두슈 춘지 이날에 아니 되베제소 장원 대다 탐지 가르쳐도서나 아니 대화 되베치도 최송스 다 이나양 아란줄을 단다 고급지 아니 다 시봉 공부 마페르기 돈다라 아니 다 탑시 잠마이나 아니 디커도 될라야 디커도 될라 아니 냐바도 다음에보다 통곡 요리스
So in terms of so then so it's kind of like causing the existence to kind of bubble up or to bring it up. That's how the phrase that Rinpoche was using before. And so Chandrakirti, where he's describing here the within the 12 links and then this link of existence and how this is sort of in order to cause this to not be sort of brought up. This link of existence, then we have to sort of break the chain here also by breaking the chain of obtaining or appropriating the ninth link. And there in the ninth link where we see these four different kinds of appropriation of such as chasing after which are all done for the purpose of attaining the happiness and chasing after desirous objects but also different kinds of views that also the views and morality that are used in order to bring us to chase after or follow after that happiness. Then here, in order to break that link, the sort of chain between appropriation and the actual existence, and then the existence, then understanding things such as the correct view of the self in order to get rid of the self-grasping. So that's an opportunity for us to be able to break this chain.
The break the chain the countries league dosna. Nyawa lamba bo ti nyawa lembe jingi siba jebru juros. Ta nyawa lamba bo di gando leung yore siba ngomba pewondo zambe ta nyawa lamba bo di ma mutuni kewa lenya de dene ngozu chakres. Ta ina yang ji chiri shanas 강기 chiri kede nyawa lamba bo 강기 sa soala seba ma jebache. Ta jeba 가지고래. jeba seba do 초와시도 듬바 말말 jeba seba 봐. 개버세바 제도다 거기다 투수
나서 거기
초와들 봐 초와도 듬버 초와래 듬버 초와들 레온도스 대도와 디 치드라서
라마스 콘 게주르베
네 십제제주
게주
this one
레디스스 야 알레 도고스 So reading underneath the first line of verse 8 there on the top of page 6, and so talking about how the four appropriations and then it says the existence of this appropriator because of the condition of appropriation. So why is that? If the appropriator doesn't generate craving, which is the seventh link, and due to the strength of individual discrimination doesn't get involved with craving to have them, then it abandons the four types of appropriation.
다 디커도들 제장가 아니 관계 치리 개대 냐왈렘베 간사라 간사 냐왈렘버 관계스다 간사 관계 초월라 세바 마제브체 세바스도 다 잡아들어 봐. 잡아 마제브체. 어느 소소도베기 톱지스 소소도베도 다 대고난이 도베 단디가라 랍지 접제바다 랍지 중어바갈로 송베기 다 지기 땡제기 고아디 톱지 한 세바다게 마체바를 람바 넘버 시 방네스 저와 세바다게 마체바시디 세베 유르다게 마체바세 세바다게 마체세도 좀 세바고란다게 제게요 말라 세베 유디 가래 세베 유디 아란주게 세베 유 고란페난다 지기 시둥 알 차베 차바이나 마랑은 루바즘바 들어와 디 신유 매바데 통치 아니 텔라다게 마체베체 안 넘버 15 방네스 넘버 15디 가래서나 다단다 풍불하마 시딩지로와 방네 마리 디 방네스 15디 방네스 이거 강다 대도와 이거 강다 시유바 더바다 따와 수름도 뒤주다 뒤주시기와 라반디 고발 램바기 넘버 15디 방네스 아니 니수미베 시기 정말 방원도 쳐버래 냐왈 램바 매버 두나니스 신내 녀레 매버 이다니 안 디고도 타버도 두레스 아 디송스레
And so, sort of reading through this commentary here, so it says the existence of this appropriator causes the appropriator occurs because of the condition of appropriation. So the existence comes from the appropriation, and then the answers, why is that? Why does that happen? And it says in the text, if the appropriator doesn't generate craving, then if the appropriator doesn't generate craving, and then it says in the text, whoever is a person is able to avoid getting caught up in attachment, then it doesn't generate craving, and then it says due to the strength of individual discrimination, so it doesn't get involved in craving. So this individual discrimination here, particularly, so not craving for that, not giving rise to the craving for the pleasant, the feelings of happiness, and then through the power of the through the power of through the power of this strength of this realization, what's called here individual discrimination. But what this refers to is the realization of the grasping to inherently existent self doesn't actually have a kind of apprehended object. So it's a mistaken mind, which is described by Nagarjuna and Chandrakirti in the 15th and 18th chapters of these texts, and then if the strength of this, through that understanding of the selflessness and that the self-grasping is mistaken, then the strength of that individual discrimination, it says, doesn't get involved with craving. So it's not so much doesn't get involved with craving, but is the causes of craving, the objects which cause craving. So understanding that those objects, so for instance, if you're talking about attachment to oneself, then understanding that the self doesn't, that having through this understanding that the self doesn't exist from its own side, and therefore you don't get involved in attachment or clinging to the self. And then on the basis of that, it says you abandon the four types of appropriation, which are these, the desire, the view, the holding ethical discipline and conduct to be supreme, and the expounding the self, which is the false view of the transitory collection. So then in that sense, you are liberated from those lembashine, bangne,
lembashi 빵네 lembashi 고마를 가졌으나 다 lembashi 도조 수림 양 타봐요. 두슈 양 타봐요. 아니 네베 제수는 누구요 말이. 아니 이나양 네바 매베 이나야 롱주 두고요. So the way that when we're here, we're talking about getting abandoning these four appropriations is sort of the way of sort of almost sort of being liberated from them by sort of understanding or practicing the opposite, which is to not to have excellent or sort of pure forms of ethical conduct and discipline. To not chase after, and for instance, not chase after sort of desire objects, but still be able to, on the basis of abandoning these, still be able to sort of positively engage with, or enjoy objects of desire. So these are these sort of opposite side of things. Is how we strengthening those is how we abandon the four appropriations. 덴데지 빵네스 덴데기 다 지게 대화드비 체도 이게 간의 셰베 안에 넘버 15 시도점베 많은 주 남샤견도 제당 노르드에도 파샤네 아니 다 차과랑의 예부 어서 때 먹어보지 차과디기 신율이야 아니 진당 어서 게베 로디 곰체 아니 곰데 데베이나 아니 텔라 때네 아니 저러 교신 대체 스바요와 민주로스.
And then through sort of so this way that these sorts of faulty ways of this faulty sort of appropriations, which are sort of mistaken way in which we've followed in order to for the purpose of trying to attain our happiness, and then if we're able to sort of redirect these in the sense that we're able to understand that the because derba the korangi shenyo me but shenyo the jinji lopa yimba share the gerba derba korang
de cha korangi yudi to pena ala dal cha ba cha yina da digi shin yu de dang zin dang ngo su ge lo dong lo de di kom chi ta ba de yes.
So then the way to sort of an understanding the kind of apprehended so the apprehended objects of the this of the sort of attachments, and then understanding that so the way to unravel this, so to redirect this process of wishing to attain happiness is to then understand the sort of non-existence of the apprehended objects of the desire, and by cultivating the by understanding it to be mistaken and cultivating the direct counterpoint to that, which is the for instance, if we're talking about the attitude of attachment or clinging to an inherent self, then using the wisdom of emptiness to as a direct sort of which apprehends in a directly opposite way to the clinging or grasping, and then through that's how we redirect. We get rid of the four appropriations and redirect the process of happiness.
Die in diesem Beta, also da die Kodul du steuern, ja, rabji jobje badi, gozu sage samde die mi sono jior.
So then this actually sort of really connects very well with the beginning of the chapter 18, where it deals with this topic in detail.
Due to not having good weather and my this tented survey, tented private aggregates. Tented server because contaminated say the tented server.
We'll use tainted,
right? Well, and then all this coming together, maybe this time really difficult to go through all the 18th chapter, but somehow there is a little bit of the clue of the 18th chapter. So it says nizu maybe she says
yeah. So then it says here the non-dual sort of wisdom or deep awareness, the non-dual. So this is a clue to the 18th chapter.
제가 다 베나 아란주야 디가서 니수 maybe 로디야 곰체 and 다데디 니수 maybe 곰베 이가서 니수 maybe 로디 마고 먹냐라 야바도 아주 또 하고 거야지라 내봐도 되차니 바로 예와치 하고 그랬어.
So then in order to before thinking about meditating on this non-dual deep awareness, then we have to really think about before that we need to sort of back up a bit and really think about what the difference is between desire and attachment.
제가 더바당 되차니 예와치 마시나 제가 단다 치료하게 아니 나바산제 벌 저버저원도 전에 아니 개종 고다만 아니 차고방 메두스 가진선나 아마웨 예실러.
So there's so if we're not able to differentiate between desire and attachment, then then we won't be able to answer this debate which comes from the non-Buddhists, the Gejo. So even one who's trained in sort of trained in virtue, steeped in virtue, has desire. Gotama, the one who trained in virtue, has desire, has attachment
has attachment because
they speak.
he speaks.
That's an argument that is brought by the outsider school to the Buddhists.
Deba. So Docha,
Docha,
because they
Chapi,
wanted to bring evidence because he has an attachment because Chaba Yote, Docha dos. So because they cannot differentiate between the
desire and attachment.
So 제장
Dumba is the definition of Dumba.
Dumba, the Dumba. Dumba.
Yeah, sort of in
Wish.
Yeah,
wish. Yeah, the wish. Yeah,
Wish is
yeah.
not desire.
Wish. Yeah.
wish yobadi.
Ah.
여당가 딜이야 렌자본도 잠베 아니 다탄다 신에 내가디 가르스나 되차스니디 간데질은 되차스기도 아니 더버 점세디 가르스기도 스라나 되차게발라 야바 규델라 아니 다도 좀베 등진기 자와 최고야 지금 유질라 차바이나 유 간데질라 차바이 시델라 아니 다도 좀 뭐지 매나 아니 차바지 도 말했어 디 매나양 차바 딘디기 다도 좀 등승이 매나양 더바지 추르스 가전선 더바지 발라 다도 좀 더기르 좀 로디 고메도 스테디여 제친고고 여봐
So then the way to sort of delineate these two in terms of, so in relation to that, the debate, and the way to delineate these two of attachment and then, as Alex is saying, sort of it's almost like a wish to do something rather than, perhaps desire is a bit too strong, so a wish to do something and then actual attachment, full-blown desire, then so the way to delineate these two is to understand that in terms of attachment, then that will that underlying that will that the root of that will always be a grasping to the grasping to self that underlies that, so that the grasping to the object of that as being as having in sort of let's say inherent self. So whereas but in terms of sort of just the wish a wish to do something or then that doesn't with no self-grasping underlying it, then we don't develop attachment, but there is a sort of wish a wish to do something. So one is underlain by the grasping to inherent self, and the other is not. So that's how you delineate sort of wishing and attachment.
제상가 타바 rumye지르기 시나 아니 대화 된도요 대화 가연 되고요 이나양 차가 되고면도 제상 차가 되고면도 좀비 차베기 아니 냠보 된단텔라 차가 코란 로시지 유디당 차버제서 유디도 다른데 지금 차버디기 계속이 시 오마데 다도 좀 당신이 인도 좀 당신 매버셔야지 니도 다 타바셔야 돼디 다도 좀 당신이 신유 매버 서토베이나 아니 신에가 타바 토토해지리샤 슬라도 좀베 아니 신에 당아란 저기 차시 땡보이나 아니 타로룸이 강사 세도 좀베 아니 지기 창마 유는 로고 왜 깨져 고고해면도 같아도.
So then in terms of sort of then if you sort of relate this to the wish to attain liberation, and in the wish to attain liberation doesn't involve just sort of just getting rid of any kind of wish at all. It's not the wish to liberation and the wish to have happiness, and therefore the wish to attain liberation it doesn't have to involve this process of attachment. So for instance, if you understand that the sort of the nature of the objects of attachment, and you understand that that attachment is underlain by this clinging to an inherent self, and then if you start to think that if you start to and then to have that wish to be able to sort of overcome the clinging to this the object of this the objects of this self-grasping, so that in getting to get rid of to counter the mistaken object of this self-clinging, and get which is the object of the self-grasping. And then if you wish to overcome that and therefore have the wish to achieve liberation, then this process doesn't have to, this is a wish, but it doesn't have to involve attachment.
다 차고 제체 anga 주기 더발 롱체 원도 담배 아니 신의 레사 레틀 때니 아니 지기 가르쳐 그래 미데바 서로 다 뭐지바 아 참아 용해지 다 된대 양라 주니 돈에 고관련 거고 요봐
가세트 권들이 되게
되차기 제수 장치 레사
알레오데
레사 저비 슈글라 아니 된대 양라 주니 돈에 고고고리스.
So, but then in the other way, if we allow attachment to arise in us, and then from that we accumulate or create karma, and then all of the unhappiness will proceed from that, as it has been described for us in here clearly in the 12 links.
제정하다 그런저냐야 타르바스도 쉬고 지게 탐제 점배 고방도 타르바스니데 쉬고지게 그냥 고화축 친구지 매비 나야 아니 얘기 지된 디나로야 대화 되바당 지게 롱제바당도 진행 쪽도데 이나 차베 경기 이니 되줄 가지고 주고 있나야 아니 얘기 대화 되지 내 가지고 싸워 되기 동해지 쓰기 시지 차로도스 디데지 용도 점배 다 동해지에서기 시딩의 그 짜와도 고할 요구도 없으려나 아니 되차기 신유들이야 지부지기 진지 아니래 사회 고조샤스 다 디메버 수액체도 아니 담에 통고도 슬라베이나 거기 시부지 다른 무게제 말에 내 타니 뭐지리야 아니 즉 다른 데도 세기 계제도 시도서.
And so, in terms of wishing to attain these sort of very refined states of liberation, or the fully enlightened state, and but if we don't really have if we don't have a very clear understanding of the process and what those mean, then for then our wish for our wish for happiness can not be those wishes, and that the wish for happiness is very difficult to fulfill. But if we understand, but at least if we're able to have some understanding of the with this wish for these states of say liberation and enlightenment, if we're able to understand that the sort of basis from which all the suffering stems out of is the apprehended or clinging to the apprehended objects of attachment, and then and understanding that clinging and the sort of faulty clinging to the objects of attachment then brings us is really the basis for our suffering, and then of course then brings all of brings the karma and then the suffering. But if we're able to see on the basis of that the importance of the need to understand selflessness and to be able to counteract that process, and then our wish for liberation becomes sort of more become more, then our wish for liberation with understanding all of that context will become much more meaningful.
So now in order to make a simple picture, imagine our heart and person like us going to in a restaurant and order a momo, very delicious momo. I feel this and then this arhat enjoying the momo, and that person who is full of this grasping towards momo, eating same momo. But then, at the time when we look at them, they are enjoying same, taste same. But that, because through not so much grasping, no grasping at all, that the arhat, there is no karsore le quality giverchibi leda.
Yes, so they don't sort of accumulate the karma which causes them to be born in samsara.
No attachment.
Don't create that kind of karma.
And then maybe just like a roughly idea, maybe he asked for the second plate. And then the restaurant said, nope, it's finished. He's okay with that. No anger, it was why. But then the person maybe with a strong attachment, and he only get a half plate, and half he is gone. They say no more momo. Then so much upset, so much upset, and he will make a. As we have this common thing saying, making a scene out from that.
Yeah, don't make a scene out
That's
of it.
right. Yeah, making a scene out from there. Like
Drama.
there are drama, huge drama there, making fights with the cook or maybe just do nasty things. So no, that all this for the arhats. Even he does the scene, try to make it a big scene, but no. They
want to create the karma to be born in the samsaric world.
So it's more like you can make a drama, but without any leaving any stain. Then it's a professional.
It's not.
Okay. Yeah. So now we take a. I will stop here today. Then Alex will do the discussion, and then Samina and I will talk a brief about the 18th chapter. Maybe take out some important parts from there so that we can share on maybe tomorrow. Afternoon session, or maybe day after tomorrow.
Saturday, yeah.
Saturday Yorba.
Yeah, Niman Yoruba.
Saturday Yorba.
Yeah.
So Saturday we have a time. So then going through, and then maybe it will be good. Maybe go through. We need some reliable, not me just talking whatever I wanted. But maybe you can share the three principal aspects of the path. So in there particularly there is a section of the emptiness part. So we will look into this and then try to bring some quotations from the 18th chapter. And then I will try to make it beautiful. Yeah. And then we have a time, and then we will do a MA. What is it? AMA. Ask me anything. Okay. Thank you.